Hello, I'm Marcus Hayes and welcome to the first episode, maybe the last episode, who knows, of Rant on Road. Because we all love a rant. Do let us know in the comments what you want to rant about at the moment. But in this video, I want to rant about people that lie about the spec of their cars. In particular, people that lie about how much horsepower or torque their engines are producing. I think this says a lot about what these kind of people are like, you know, outside of cars, right? If you sort of need to lie about how much power your engine's making, what kind of person are you? You know, why are you attaching so much value to how much power your engine is producing that you need to lie to people? You know, why do these people need to compete with other people? It's so much that they actually lie about how much power their engines are producing. We've all seen people like this, you know, people online or people that you know in person that seem to be able to make more power out of their engines than anyone else who's got the same engine or the same spec. You know, these people that have got X amount of horsepower, but they never have a dyno printout or any proof. Now, I'm not saying that you should always need to prove how much power your engine's making, but I know that when I've taken my cars to the dyno to get them tuned, I'm quite excited to show people the results, you know, whether they be more than I was expecting or most of the time less than I was expecting. I also live in a world where, look, I'm in a classic Ford Escort now that makes 189 horsepower. In this day and age, that's not very powerful. You could go and get a Golf on finance that makes over 300 horsepower. So, you know, in terms of numbers, you know, my car isn't fast. A lot of people who aren't into these cars, when I say how much power I'm making, they're like, oh, really? Is that all? Now, obviously, there's a lot more to it. This car's probably half the weight of most cars on the road. So, you know, that does come into it. And it's not a slow car. But, you know, in terms of the numbers, it's not a powerful car by today's standards. But I still never have the urge to lie about how much power it's making. It's making 189 horsepower. I tell people it's making 189 horsepower. Most of the time I'll say it might not be making 189 horsepower now either, because it gets abused, and over time I'm sure, you know, the engine will lose some power as it gets more tired. Another thing is, what a lot of people do is they like to round up the figure, right? So I'm making 189 horsepower. A lot of people in my position will be like, yeah, 200 brake. Well, it's not 200 brake, is it? You know, and it gets worse as you go up the sort of levels of power, right? Someone who's making 530 horsepower might say they've got a 600 horsepower car when, well, they just haven't. It's closer to 500, isn't it? So there's a lot of that, a lot of rounding up. The other thing is, a lot of the more modern cars that get mapped to 400, 500, 600 horsepower, whatever, they don't even go on a dyno. They don't go on a rolling road. They've just gone to a company who has supplied them with a map that they've paid a lot of money for, and they're told that, yes, it's a 500 horsepower map. Now, you know, someone's car, I'm sure, would have been mapped to get it to 500 horsepower, and then that's the map they're selling to you. But in my experience, every car's different. Like, I've experienced where I've changed an engine for the same type of engine, and then I've taken it back to the dyno, and the tuner has had to go through the whole tune and tweak it. You know, quite a lot. You know, he's had to spend an hour or two tweaking it to suit the new engine, which is exactly the same engine. You know, another used engine that's exactly the same. And I've also experienced in that exact situation that I'm talking about, where, you know, the second engine ended up making, I think it was 20 horsepower more, no, 10 horsepower more, you know, than the other engine, once the tuner had tweaked the map to suit that other engine, even though they're exactly the same engine. You know, they're obviously worn out in different amounts, you know, because they're both used engines. So in my mind, going to buy a map off of someone it's not going to be optimized for your engine unless the car has actually been on the dyno and it's been, you know, the map has been optimized for that engine. And B, there's no guarantees that it's going to make the power that they're stating it will. You know, realistically, you don't know for sure whether that map made any car the amount of power that they're saying it is. You know, because it's funny, like all these maps that you can buy, they all seem to be round numbers, don't they? You know, they all seem to be a 400 brake map, a 500 brake map. You know, surely if it was more accurate, even if it was, you know, created on a car at some point, it would be a 531.5 horsepower map, right? So yeah, there's a lot of rounding up, there's a lot of guesstimating, and there's a lot of people running around with remapped cars that don't actually know how much power they're making, because the figure has just been taken from the company that sold them the map, and that map was created on a car that, well, a totally different car, right? So yeah, I don't understand why there's such weight attached to how much power your car's making. You know, I know that a lot of people are egotistical, and, you know, to a lot of people, I don't know, maybe they've got low self-esteem, and maybe, you know, telling other people that they've got power they haven't helps them with that low self-esteem. I don't know, but to me, how much power your engine's making shouldn't be that important in the first place. And even if it is, surely it's better to just strive to have the amount of power you want, rather than just lying to make other people think you've got the power you want. Because realistically, a certain percentage of the people that you tell this lie to are going to know you're lying anyway. And then surely you're going to look like more of an idiot for being a liar than you think you will be for having less power than you think you should. I don't know. It's definitely something that I don't understand. Definitely something that I've ranted about before to people, you know, when people clearly are lying. And yeah, I just don't understand it. Another sort of extension from this, and it is kind of related, right? You'll get people that go to a car show at Santa Pod Raceway, which is a drag strip where you can pay a fee and test how fast or slow your car is at a standing quarter mile, right? And you get so many people that have got these big power builds, and it's always the ones that are really boastful about what bits they've bought and how much power they've got and this, and especially how much money it's cost, because that's another thing. You know, these kind of people that hang so much weight on how much power they've got, they also like to hang so much weight on how much it's cost, you know. Like, some of these people will tell you how much their builds cost before they've even started telling you the interesting stuff, like what parts they've chosen and what power they've got, right? So yeah, you get these people, they go to a show at Santa Pod, and it's like, oh, right, yeah, you know, this big build, you've been going on about it, oh, you must be really excited to get it down the quarter mile. Oh, no, I'm not racing it. Why? Like, and you think to yourself, why? Like, this person's clearly someone who's really into figures and, you know, testing their car, and they've spent all this money. I mean, they keep banging on about it. Surely they want to see what they can get down the quarter mile, you know? But no. Oh, no, not running it down the quarter mile. Don't want it to blow up. You don't want it to blow up. Like, you've spent all this money on your engine, on your car, to make all this power that you keep banging on about, and now you're scared of it blowing up. And these same people will drive up the M1 on the way to Santa Pod at 120 mile an hour. Like, surely, you know, driving 60 miles on the motorway full send is going to cause more damage than a mere quarter of a mile past on the drag strip, right? But, you know, it all ties in to this desire for people to be more interested in what people think about what they've got than what they've actually got. You know, because these people that lie about their power figures, you know, lie about how much they've spent on their builds or whatever, these people that sort of attach so much weight to how much power they've got, or, you know, how much they've spent on their build, that would all be shattered if they ran down the quarter mile and they end up doing, you know, a slower time than someone who is maybe more honest about their power, but they've got less power. So, you know, it's very ironic that these same people that seem to have more power than everyone but are very secretive about how they've achieved that power. They don't seem to have a printout from a dyno, and lo and behold, they're also someone who doesn't want to run their car down the drag strip. Or, you know, I've seen the situation before where they will run it down the drag strip because you've kind of persuaded them to, or whatever, but it just so happens on that day there's something wrong with their car. They've got a misfire, their tyres are worn, you know, their cat just died, so they're not really in a drag racing mood. And it's just so, it's so predictable and so pathetic. Now, you know, we're having a rant about this, but, you know, in all seriousness, it's very sad for someone to tie that much weight to how much power their engine is making or isn't. So, you know, we need to take this with a pinch of salt. We need to not get upset with people that are this way inclined. And most importantly, we need to not be tempted to turn into one of these people ourselves, right? You know, I'm not going to start telling people I've got 210 brake because there's other people out there that have got the same setup as me that apparently are making 209 brake. You know, I'd much rather sort of mock and rant against these people that lie about the spec of their cars than become one myself. But yeah, that is what I wanted to rant about today. Maybe this will become a regular feature on this channel. Do let me know in the comments if you think I should make some more rant on road videos, and more importantly, let me know what you want a rant about. I mean, maybe in the future I could get to a stage where I could have other people join me in the cockpit of my car or their car, and we can do a rant on road together. Anyway, I've just got to tool station, need to pick up some bits that I need to work on one of my other cars, which you'll be able to see in another video. But for now, massive thanks to everyone who's tuned in. Check all the links in the description as usual to follow me on social media and that sort of thing. Huge thanks to my patrons as always for your support. But other than that, I'll chat to you on the next video.